Welcome back to the channel. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. A couple housekeeping items. I did set up a Instagram account. My kids asked me, do I have an Instagram account? And I didn't at the time, so I set that up, and right below here we'll put the link to the Instagram account. It's also attached to the Facebook account too, so if you see it on Facebook or Instagram, you're seeing the same thing. I post updates just a few hours to a day earlier on those platforms before the video actually hits. So if you'd like to follow me on those channels, you can. One of the questions I had is, why am I doing this to the Jeep? For one, because it's cool. Big horsepower engine inside the Jeep. Try to make it go anywhere it wants to. The other part too is I'm working on a project coming up in Silver Lake in April. It's called the Dune Report. And there's going to be a mobile app that goes along with it, and we're going to do like the live drag strip racing, and there's going to be a weather report and all that type of stuff, and this is going to be the main vehicle for that project. This one will be driving around through the dunes most, I would say at least 3 to 4 times a week. You'll see it in the dunes, especially on major holidays, and pretty much every weekend in between Memorial Day and Labor Day. But I need a vehicle that can be reliable to do that with, and that's what I'm trying to create. In the short term here, what's going to happen after the engine is done, and I already got this on order, is we're going to have a wrap on the outside of the Jeep that's going to be speaking to Dune Report and the different YouTube channels and Facebook channels, or I shouldn't say Facebook, but just different YouTube channels that are going to be there, and the mobile app that we're developing. I shouldn't say we are developing, it's already done, so that part is good. But let's get moving forward to actually getting this engine out, because that's the next step. So the last thing that we did yesterday, or in the last video, was remove the front part of the engine, the fan, the radiator, the front, I don't know what to call it, the support that holds the headlights and stuff like that. So we got that removed. Everything's out. Everything's disconnected. We're going to start moving on to the next steps here. The next step that I'm on is to, grab out my notes here, detach the wiring harness from its retainer and move it away from the engine. So I'm looking at it, and I don't know how I can do that yet. So we're just going to actually skip that step and come to it when I run into a scenario where I need it moved. So moving on to step 12, we're going to disconnect the PCV hose, the EVAP hose, and the EGR tube. So let's start with the PCV hose. So PCV hose is stands for positive crankcase ventilation, and that hose is this one right here. It's that hose. We got the compression clips, or yeah, I guess we'll just call it that. Compression clips right there. And then another one hidden right back down in there. It might just be easier to pull this off before I can get to it, but that's the idea. We'll start with that one. Okay, the PCV hose is off. Let's work on the EVAP hose. With the EVAP hose, I'm not 100% sure which one, because there's quite a few different EVAP hoses on the system here. So I'm not exactly sure which one they're referring to, but I believe it's these hard plastic ones right here that were connected. There's also a canister that connects these two too. It goes into the back here, not sure where, so I might figure that one out, but I believe that this is all it's referring to right here, is having these disconnected. Okay, so now that that's done, we're moving on to the, let's see here, the EGR tube. All right, so the EGR tube is this one right here. So it's up on top of the intake manifold, and then it's gonna be hard to see. So as you can see, the EGR tube goes down and connects right about here. It looks like those are just two, maybe 8mm bolts. Let's give it a try. The bolt should be the same as what's on top, so we'll start with that. Okay, so I got the two 8mm bolts off of this side, two 8mm bolts off top. There's one, I believe it's a 13mm bolt holding the tube on. So we'll get that removed. Okay, EGR valve or EGR tube is disconnected. Next on to disconnect fuel lines going to the fuel rail, and let's do that. So I feel like I'm a little bit innovative at the moment. The task that we were working on is to remove the fuel lines from the fuel rail. This is the fuel rail right here. This is the fuel line. So these types of fuel connectors, if you can look in there, require a special tool to get off of the compression, I guess you could say. The compression right here. So what the tool looks like is it wraps around here, and when you push it up, it pushes the 4 pins at the same time so that you can take this off. Well, I don't have that tool, so what I did was I cut up one of those screw clamps just so I could have something around, and I put it around here, and I just took pliers and shoved it this way so it went inside of there. I mean, that goes on like that. So you put this on right here, and I had to tighten it around it a little bit, but then you just slide it this way and it just goes pop right off. All good. moving on to step 14, disconnect the electrical connector and refrigerant lines from the AC compressor. And we got to make sure we cover the openings here, so let's go ahead and do that. Right here is the AC compressor. You can see the lines right here. So we'll get those off, and then might as well up back there, disconnect it from where it's going inside. So let's go ahead and do that. The AC refrigerant lines are disconnected. Good. Then it says step 15, raise and support the vehicle. This would be great, but I don't have a lift, and luckily I have big tires and I can get under there pretty easily. So we're just gonna go with that. Okay, cool. So moving on from 15, 16, disconnect the OPS and O2 sensors. So OPS is the oil pressure switch, and that is somewhere right next to the filter right here, the oil filter. It's a blue right there. And then the O2 sensors, I'll have to get in here. This is one O2 sensor, that's an upper, and then somewhere right down there is a lower. It's a lot easier for me to show you on the other side. So on the passenger side, you got the upper and lower. On the passenger side, you have the upper right here, and the lower is right there. So we'll get those all disconnected. Okay, the OPS sensor, is that right? OPS? Yeah, oil pressure sensor. That thing is tucked right back here. Hopefully you can see it. Got that disconnected. The O2 sensors that I showed you, right there, disconnected, and that one right here, disconnected. And then going around to the other side here. The upper, where'd it go? Oh, there. The upper O2 sensor is plugged in right there. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, right there. Got that one off. The third, or the fourth O2 sensor. Yeah, I'll just get down here. Oh. Okay, so the fourth one is right here, but where it plugs in, if you follow those wires way up there in that cluster F of whatever's up there, there is no way I was getting that out. I had to buy an O2 sensor before, and I do know that they are only, I don't know, like $8 or something like that. So I just cut it. Next one to remove is the CKP sensor, which stands for camshaft position sensor. Sorry, that is crankshaft position sensor. The camshaft ones are on the front, crankshaft is on the back. It's underneath the passenger side by the bell housing. So I'm gonna get underneath and check that out. All right, step 18 is remove the optional block heater if the vehicle is equipped with one. Mine is not, so I don't gotta worry about that. And then moving forward, step 19, disconnect the starter connectors and remove the starter. All right, let's do that. Starter which I don't know if you can see, but I'm gonna set the tablet down here real quick, is way down there. Yeah, you can't see on the camera. I wish I could get a good shot of it, but unfortunately I can't. But it's an absolute pain in the ass to get out. Once again, my battery in my GoPro. Where's that at? I don't know where my GoPro's at now. But it died, and I don't want to go inside and grab the next battery because I have a cell phone that I can finish this up on. So the starter, you know, I'm just gonna point with my hand here, is just a ways straight down there. It's right next to the dipstick line right here, and it's a pain in the ass to get out. But I was able to get it out, and man, yeah, I'm looking over my notes here, and yeah, we started on step 11 of the list today, and we are now just finished step 19. So according to the list, there's only 27 steps. A couple of them are just, you know, make sure you secure this type notes. But I think I have very little left to remove from the engine here. And we start pulling it out. Yes. I'll probably get to that tomorrow. Pretty excited about that. All right, talk to you guys later. Peace.